Hello everyone, welcome to my channel India Gate. This is Nandini Sharma. In this video, we talk about the 40 plus most important MCQs in compiler design. So let's get starting here. First question: in our compiler design module, check every character of the source text is called. So here four option. Option A, text code generator. Option B, code optimizer. Option C, lexical analyzer, and option D, syntax analyzer. And correct answer is option C, that is your lexical analyzer, okay, which is your first phase of the compiler. Okay, now come to the next question. Here next question is defined as match the following. Here matching between the group 1 to group 2. Here group 1 contains A, logical analysis, group B, code optimization, C, code generation, D, abelian group. And in the group second, it contains DAG, syntax tree, push down automata, and finite automata with respect to PQRS points. Okay, now we know that in the logical analyzer used for the what, that is your finite automata. Okay, so we say that A match to S. Okay, next code optimizer is, in the case of the code optimization phase, DAG diagram means your directed acyclic graph is used. Okay, now here C, code generation is used for the your push down automata. Okay, and last D, abelian group. Abelian group is your syntax tree based. Okay, so we say that here correct match for the group 1 to group 2, that is AS, BP, CR, DQ. Okay, now come to the next question. Here next question is defined as which of the following string can definitely be said to be token without looking at the next input character while compiling a Pascal program. Okay, so here three hint is given. First is your begin, second is your program, and third is your open and close angular bracket. Okay, so we say that third is your correct answer, because here we display the string definitely be said to be token without looking at the next input character while the compiling a Pascal program. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. In some programming language, an identifier is permitted to be a letter followed by any number of letter or digit. If L and D denote the set of letters and digits respectively, which of the following expression define an identifier? So it is very simple question. If you go through the theory of computation lecture, that is the TOC, so you should just a second and identify the correct answer, that is your option B. How here is a statement is given here, letter followed by any number of letter or digits. So for our operation we use plus operator. Okay, so due to of this we say that option B is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Type checking is normally done during, so there are four options. Option A, B, C, and D, and correct answer is your syntax directed translation. And somebody say that semantic analysis phase is your correct. Yes, it is also correct, but here not option is given like semantic analysis, so here option C is your correct with regarding of the given options. Okay, directed syntax directed translation. Okay, now come to the next question. The number of token in C program statement. So here statement is given like this: printf I is equal to percentile D and I is equal to percentile X enclosed in double quotes, comma I, comma a percent I, parenthesis is closed, and semicolon. Okay, now there are four options: option A 3, option B 26, option C 10, and option D 21. Now come to the solution of this question, and this is very simple question. Here we count the first in your printf keyword, second is your parenthesis, and third is your enclosed quotes is your third token, fourth is your comma, fifth is your I, sixth is your comma, seventh is a percent, eighth is your I, and nine is your closing parenthesis, 10 is your semicolon. So their total number of token in C statement is 10. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider a program P that consists of two source module M1 and M2 contains in two different files. If M contains a reference to a function defined in M2, the reference will be resolved at. So it is very easy question. Why? Because we know that if M1 and M2 contain two different files. Okay, M1 contains the reference of the function defined in M2. So we easily say that here link time is 0. So it is resolved at link time. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement are true? So there are four statements given. First statement: there exists a parsing algorithm for some programming language whose complexity are less than theta n cube. Second statement: a programming language which allow recursion can be implemented with static storage allocation. And third statement: no L attribute defined can be evaluated in the framework of bottom-up parsing. And other fourth statement is defined as code improve transmission can be performed at both source language and intermediate code level. So correct answer for this question is option B. Here fourth statement is your correct, as well as first statement is also correct. Why? Because we know that if they in the programming language whose complexity may be or may not be less than n cube. Okay, it's based on the parsing algorithm. And another we say for the code improving transformation can be performed at the both source language and intermediate code language. So it is also correct statement. So option B is your correct. Now come to the next question. Which data structure in a compiler is used for the managing information about variables and the attributes? So it is very easy, that is your symbol table. So option B is your correct. Now come to the next question. In a compiler, keywords of language are recognized during. So it is very easy, which is your first question of this session, that is your lexical analyzing of the program. So option C is your correct automatically. Okay, now come to the next question. Match the following list 1 to list 2, and here list 1 contains P lexical analysis, Q top-down parsing, R semantic analysis as runtime environment, and list 2 contains first leftmost derivative, second type checking, third regular expression, fourth activation records. Okay, so this is very interesting question. Now we know very well the list first, that is here P contains lexical analysis, and we know that lexical analysis is based on the your regular expression, okay. And here Q top down parsing, so top down parsing is your leftmost derivative, so here Q match to the first and P match to the third, okay. Now come to the R, semantic analysis. So semantic analysis is connected with your type checking, okay, and runtime environment is based on the activation records, okay. So this is the correct matching of this question. Now come to the correct option. So here option B is your correct for the above question. Now come to the next question. Consider the SLR1 and LALR1 parsing table for a context-free grammar. Which of the following statement is true? So there are four options. Option A, the go-to part of both table may be different. So it is false, because here go-to part in the both table is same for the SLR and LALR. Now come to the next. The shift entry are identical in both the tables. Yes, it is identical in the both tables. So option B is also correct. Now come to the option C. The reduced entries in the table may be different. Yes, it may be different, because in the case of the SLR the reduced entry is different, and in the LALR the reduced entry is also different. Now come to the option D. The error entry in the table may be different. Yes, it is also different. So we say that B, C, D are correct or true statement. Now come to the next question. The past numbers for each of the following activities. Here four statement: object code generation, literals added to the literal table, third listing printed, and fourth address resolution of local symbols that occur into two passes assembler respectively are. So we count the number of the passes for each given activities, okay. Here 1 2 3 4 three activities are given, and also giving the four option A, B, C and D. Now come to the solution of this question, okay. So here solution is given like a multi-pass compiler is a type of compiler that processes the source code or abstract syntax tree of a program several times. Two-pass compiler on the first pass check the syntax of a statements and constructs a table of symbols, while one of the second pass is actually translated program statement into machine language. So we easily say that here for object code generation we need two pass, okay, and here literals added to the literal table here need to one pass, okay, first pass, okay, and in the third listing printed here using second or two pass compiler, and come to the fourth address resolution of local symbol that occurs in a two pass assembler respectively. It is also contains one pass compiler, okay. So this is a correct sequence. So we say that option B is your correct answer, okay. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is true? So there are four statements A, B, C and D. Firstly we come to the solution of this question, okay. So here solution is given in LR parsing in the term of power. So higher power of the LR parsing is CLR, conical LR having the highest power, then LALR, after that SLLR, and lowest for the LLR 0, okay. If you remember this sequence you can easily find the correct answer. Now come to the question, okay. So there are four options given here. First, SLR parser is more powerful than LLR. No, it is incorrect statement, okay, because here firstly C L R, then L A R, then S L R, and after is your L R. Okay, so this is false. Now come to the statement B. LLR parser is more powerful than conical LR. No, it is also false. Now third, conical LLR parser is more powerful than LLR. Yes, it is true statement. So we say easily option C is your true. Okay, because here only one statement asking for the true. So here C is true, and we automatically say that option D is incorrect. Why? Because here asking to the parser SLR, conical LR and LLR have same power. No, it's not a true statement. So option C is the correct. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is false? So there are four statements. Statement A, unambiguous grammar has same leftmost and rightmost derivative. So it is false, because in the case of the ambiguous grammar we get the same left and rightmost derivative, but in the unambiguous grammar there is no left and most derivative. Grammar is the same. Okay, here it is different. Okay, so this is your false statement. Okay, now come to the B. An LLR parser is top-down parser. Yes, it is true statement. LLR is most powerful than SLR. Yes, it is also true statement. An ambiguous grammar can never be LRK for K, any K. Okay, so this is also true. Okay, so we say that easily option A is your incorrect. Okay, that is false option and statement. Now come to the next question. Which of the following suffices to convert an arbitrary CFG to an LL1 grammar? So there are four options, option A, B, C and D. So here all of these are incorrect, means none. Option D is correct, none of above. Why? We come to the here explanation. Unambiguous grammar can't be LL1. Removing left recursion and factoring the grammar not always be guaranteed the unambiguous of the grammar. So option D is your correct answer. Okay, this is the most important reason behind this question. Now come to the next question. Assume that SLR parser for a grammar G has N1 statements and LLR parser for G has N2 statement. The relationship between the N and N2 is. So it is most important questions and mostly expected question in the paper. So option B is correct for this question, means N1 is necessarily equal to N2. How? We come to the solution. Okay, so here giving solution, SLR parser has N1 state for the grammar G, LLR parser has N2 statement for grammar G. The state of the SLR and LLR parser are same of the corresponding state in the deterministic finite automata. Okay, so in the case of the deterministic finite automata which recognize the variable prefix, and both deterministic finite automata contains the equal number of states. So here N1 is equal to N2. So we say that option B is your correct. Okay, now come to the next question. Here next question is defined. Which of the following grammar rule violate the requirement of the operator grammar? PQRS are not terminal and RST are terminals. Okay, so there are four options given. P produce Q R, P produce Q small s and R. Third, P produce epsilon and P produce Q small t R small r. Okay, so here correct answer is option D, first and third. First and third is violate the requirement of the operator grammar. Why? We come to the solution. In the case of the operator grammar, the grammar has the property that no production side is epsilon, or it has doesn't contains adjacent non-terminal. Okay, so we say that P produce QR and P produce epsilon violate the requirement of the operator grammar. Okay, now come to the next question. The grammar A produce AA or in parenthesis A or epsilon is not suitable for predictive parsing because the grammar is. So we say that the grammar is ambiguous. Why? We come to the solution. So here semantic tree is given for the given grammar. Here A produce epsilon, and here when we A produce AA, so it is also produce the epsilon. So we easily say that it is a ambiguous grammar. It is an ambiguous grammar. Okay, so this is the most important point for the not suitable predictive parser. Okay, now come to the next question. Consider the following grammar: R produce FR, R S produce FR, R produce star S or epsilon, F produce ID. In the predictive parser table M of the grammar, the entry M S comma ID and M R comma dollar respectively. So here 4 option is given: A, B, C and D, and correct answer is option A. Now come to the solution of this table. After the constructing the predictive parser table as below. So here is the non-terminals, that is SRF. After the here is all terminals, that is ID, star and dollar. Now after the given production load, we create this table and we get here SID contains S produce FR, that is this, and here MR dollar produce S produce epsilon, that is here. So option A is your correct answer. Okay, now come to the next question. Consider the following grammar: S produce S multiply E, S produce E, E produce F plus E, E produce F and F produce ID. Consider the following LR0 item corresponding to the grammar above. Okay, so there is first S produce S into dot E, second E produce F dot plus E, and third E produce F plus dot E. Given the item above, which two of them will appear in the same set in the conical set of items for the grammar? So correct answer is option D, that is none of above. Why? We come to the solution here. After the creating this diagram, we get here given S into dot E, E produce F dot plus E and E produce F plus dot E. Any of them, these two items not present in the same state of above DFA. So due to of this reason, here correct answer is option D, none of these. Okay, now come to the next question. What is the maximum number of reduced move that can be taken by a bottom-up parser for the grammar without epsilon and unit production? So given instruction here is that of A produce null and A produce A to parse a string with n tokens. So correct answer is option C, that is 2n minus 1. Now come to the solution here. So here we know that using of the unit production A produce B. Notable point there is a typo error in the question. For the unit production, instead of A produce B was given as A produce A. Null production produces like this. Okay, A produce epsilon. Okay, So for example, here S produce A, B, A produce A, B produce B. Okay, now basis of this we said that here two length string AB to E, capital A B, and here it produce AB, and this AB produce S is requires 3 reduction. For an length string we need 2n-1 reduction requirement. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider a grammar defined by the following production rule with true operator star and plus, and this production rule is also given here. Okay, so here production rule is given. Which of the following is true? Okay, so there are 4 options. Option A, plus is left associative while star is right associative. Option B, plus is right associative while star is left associative. Option C, both plus and star are right associative. Option D, both plus and star are left associative. Now come to the solution. So basis of the production we create a syntax tree. Okay, so we get here this syntax tree basis of the left derivative. Okay, leftmost derivation. So here representing plus as A and second plus as B. Okay, so we get here B is getting higher precedence than A. So here we say that plus is your right associative. Okay, now come to the other rightmost derivative. We get here this diagram. Okay, syntax tree. So basis of this syntax tree, here first bottom star is A and here upper star is assumed like B. So here we get A having the more precedence than B. So we say that star is your left associative. Okay, now your option B is correct. Now come to the next question. Generation of intermediate code based on an abstract machine model is used in the compilers because. So there are 4 options. Option A, it makes implementation of lexical analysis and syntax analysis easier. And option B, syntax directed translation can be written for the intermediate code generation. Option C, it enhances the portability of the front end of the compiler. And option D, it is not possible to generate code for real machine directed from high level machine program. So here correct answer is option A, means it make implementation of lexical analysis and syntax analysis easier. Okay, now come to the next question. In the following grammar, x is equal to x XOR y or y, and y produce z XOR y or z, and z produce I. Which of the following is true? So there are 4 options A, B, C and D. Now come to the solution here, and option is correct. Option A is correct, means here XOR is your left associative and while XOR is your right associative. How we come to the syntax tree? After the creating this syntax tree, we get here XOR is left associative and XOR is your right associative. Okay, so this is your correct representation of the given syntax tree. After the using of the creating the tree for the IT XOR, so we get here this. So after all this syntax, making of this programming syntax, we get here the XOR is your right associative. So option A is your correct. Now come to the next question. Which language necessarily need heap allocation in the runtime environment? So there are 4 options A, B, C and D, and correct answer is option C. Why? Because we know that in the heap, those that allow the dynamic data structure which is included in the heap at the allocation in the runtime environment. Okay, so here option C is your correct answer. Okay, now come to the next question. Which of the following is false? So here option A basic block is sequence in instruction where control enters the sequence at the beginning and exit at the end. So this is your true statement. So option A is your true. Now next is your option B. Available expression analysis can be used for the common sub-expression elimination. So it is also correct. Next option C. Live variable analysis can be used for dead code elimination. Yes, it is also used for the dead code elimination. So option C is also correct. So we say automatically option D is your incorrect, because here x equal to 4 into 5 did produce x is example of common sub expression elimination. No, it is false. So option D is your false statement. Now come to the next. Consider the intermediate code generation below. Here intermediate code is given like I is equal to 1, j is equal to 1, t1 equal to 5 into I, t2 is equal to t1 plus j, t3 is equal to 4 into t2, t4 is equal to t3, array of t4 is equal to -1 and j is equal to j plus 1. If j is less than equal to 5, go to step 3, and here I is equal to I plus 1. And next 11th step is if I is less than 5, then go to step 2. Okay, so the number of node and edges in the control flow graph constructed for our code respectively. So we find the number of node and edges in this given control graph. Now we come to the solution. So this is the control graph for the above question. So total number of node is how many nodes in there? So there are total number of nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So total number of nodes is 6. Now total number of edges is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So here total number of edges is 7. So we easily say that total number of node is 6 and total number of edges is 7. Okay, which is represented here. So option B is the correct answer. Now come to the next question. In the context of the abstract syntax tree AST and the control flow graph CFG, which one of the following is true? So there are 4 options. Option A, both AST and CFG let node 2 and 2 be successor of N1 in the input program. The code corresponding to N2 is present after the code corresponding to N1. So it is your false statement, because here we need to be both statement is going to be firstly N1 to N2, not be N2 to N1. Okay, next here option B is given like for any input program neither AST nor CFG will contain a cycle. So it is also false statement. Next here C, the minimum number of successor of a node in a AST and a CFG depend on the input program. So it is your correct or true statement. So option C is your true. Now here last D, each node in AST and CFG corresponding to at most one statement in the input program. So it is also incorrect, because correct statement is the minimum number of the successor, maximum number of successor of a node in a AST and a CFG depends on the input program. Okay, so option C is your correct. Next question, which of the following statement are correct? So there are 4 statements. Statement first, static allocation of all the data area by the compilers make it impossible to implement recursion. So it is also true statement and correct statement. Now complete second, automatic garbage collection is essential to implement recursion. No, it is false. Here is not need to be implement recursion. Next here third is dynamic allocation of activation record is essential to implement recursion. Yes, it is essential for the recursion. Here fourth statement is given, both heap and stack are essential to implement recursion. No, it's not need to be implement recursion. Okay, so here option D is correct, means first and third is your correct statements. Okay, if you have any queries, so please comment me. Thank you for watching.